You know, animals, they give us lots of things. Or rather, we take lots of things from animals. Food, clothing, free labor, and sometimes companionship. Everyone knows about down pillows, leather shoes, guano fertilizer, honeycombs, and cheeseburgers. You probably also know about the devastation caused by the black market trade of animal parts and extracts used in so-called traditional medicine, like rhino horn powder, bear bile, and tiger bones, all of which I'm here to tell you is total bunk. But for centuries, humans have been sneaking animal secretions into lots of things you probably don't know about, like your Easter candy and your mom's perfume, and even that cigarette you really shouldn't be smoking. And we also continue to enjoy delicacies that are only made possible because they come out of some animals' mouths, glands, and yes, butts. So, how many secretions have you slathered on or ingested lately? I guess first, you're gonna have to find out what they are and how they get into your body. Let's begin with one of the most widely used but little known secretions you probably interact with, Castoreum. Castoreum, not to be confused with castor oil, which is made from castor beans, is a yellowish secretion produced in the castor sacs of adult beavers. These sacs are located near the animal's genitals, and the rodents mix their secretions with urine to mark their territories. The stuff smells strong and musky, so no surprise that long ago some productive perfumer started using it in manly fragrances for a hint of leather. In fact, those sweet, smoky stylings were so appealing to the human nose, some genius thought, hey, let's put it in cigarettes. And Castoreum became one of the 600 federally approved cigarette additives. Ugh. If you want another reason to avoid smoking, just look at that terrifying list. But that's not even half of it. Ever looked at the ingredient list on a carton of ice cream or bag of candy corn and wondered what exactly all those dubious natural flavorings are? The Food and Drug Administration lists Castoreum as GRAS, or a generally recognized as safe food additive, although it's clearly not safe for those poor beavers. But beavers aren't the only musk machines out there. Civets are vivarids, omnivorous mammals with long bodies, short legs, and long tails that look like a cross between a weasel and a cat. And there are over 15 different species that range from Africa to Southeast Asia. Humans have long corded civets for their sweet-smelling musk, traditionally used as scent and fixative in perfumes. The oil is produced in the animal's perineal glands, which are, yes, near its genitals, and humans harvest the valuable musk either by removing the glands from a dead civet, or in modern times, scraping the glands out with a special tool. This task is as difficult as it sounds and can be very painful to the animal if done incorrectly. Because of this, many fragrance houses are moving away from civet oil in favor of synthetic alternatives, although it is still used today by some. But humans use civets for an even more bizarre purpose: poop coffee. Yes, friends, that is a thing. Kopi Luwak is an Indonesian coffee made from coffee beans that have been, to put it politely, pre-processed by Asian palm civets. The animals eat the raw beans, partially digest them, and then defecate. Folks collect and clean the leftovers, apparently resulting in a smooth, caramely finish. Must really be something, because a pound of this stuff costs nearly $250, making it the world's most expensive coffee. Poop. Incidentally, critics say it tastes like burnt, stale Folgers. In addition to the whole emperor has no clothes element here, the production process can be inhumane. While civets in the wild voluntarily eat berries, leaving their excrement behind, this poop coffee craze has resulted in some operations keeping civets in small cages under great stress. So if you got $100 burning a hole in your pocket and you like the sound of a cup of Kopi Luwak, please look for unethically sourced company to waste your money on. Speaking of food I don't want to eat, we gotta talk about bird's nest soup. You might think that this popular Asian delicacy is made from any old bird's nest, like grab a robin's nest, toss it in a pot with some celery and onions, and boom, you got a soup. But what sounds less appetizing than eating a bunch of poopy feathered sticks? How about a bowl of bird spit, maybe? Several species of Asian swiftlets weave their nests entirely out of hardened strands of their own gummy saliva. Males build these nests on cave walls, whereupon industrious humans come calling. Once collected and cleaned, these nests are sold to restaurants where they're placed in hot water until they take on a gelatinous consistency. Connoisseurs are known to pay over $50 for a bowl of this hot, viscous bird slobber. Conservationists worry that the value of these nests put the species at great risk, especially when when impatient harvesters snag nests that aren't yet empty, sometimes tossing aside the bird eggs or even the baby birds. And if you really want to talk about rare and valuable, in his classic novel Moby Dick, Herman Melville wrote about our next example, saying, "Fine ladies and gentlemen should regale themselves with an essence found in the inglorious bowels of a sick whale." He was talking about ambergris, an ingredient found in traditional incenses, perfumes, and food flavorings. So what is it? Well, when a sperm whale has something sharp and irritating like a squid beak bouncing around in its digestive tract, it'll cover it with a greasy internal secretion to help expel the object. Long thought of as whale vomit, researchers now believe the stuff comes out the other end. Then that nasty little packet bobs along in the oceans for months or years, hardening on its way to the shore and solidifying an exceptionally unique scent. As you can imagine, ambergris is rare and thus extremely valuable. In 2012, a kid in the UK found a chunk on the beach, and at over 2.5 kilograms, it's estimated to be worth over $63,000. Whale poop for the win! So, who's willing to shell out that much for hardened, waxy whale excrement? French perfumers, of course. Its fragrance can vary from generally animally to sweet to musky, but it turns out ambergris is also quite good at fixing a scent to human skin. Because sperm whales are a threatened species, ambergris is now illegal in the US and Australia, but high-end French fragrance houses still use it. Though only the most expensive perfumes contain whale poop, so you won't find it in any French equivalent of Axe body spray. Alright, so we've covered the musk and the spit and the poop. Let's look now at insect secretions. You probably know what shellac is. It's used to varnish, stain, and waterproof wood and other stuff. But did you know that it is secreted by the little red lac bug? Found in Thailand, India, and Southeast Asia, lac bugs are members of the Coccidae family, also known as scale insects. When females insert their proboscises into a tree to suck its sap, they immediately begin extruding a sticky amber-colored goo. The color of the goo depends on what kind of tree they're sucking on, so it comes in all kinds of earthy tones and shades. Because scale insects live in colonies and tend to stay on one tree their whole lives, a tree may be covered in shellac. Harvesters scrape it from the trunks and clean, filter, and dry the resin into flakes, which are dissolved in alcohol, to make the shellac that you find at the hardware store. Creating a glossy sheen finish, shellac used to be a very popular wood varnish, but has now been mostly replaced by synthetic polyurethane. Historically, it was used for painting and finishing various wood and paper products, to coat sheets of braille, and until vinyl was invented, gramophone records were made of pressed shellac. Today, it is still used as varnish on fine string instruments, and yes, you've definitely eaten shellac too. It's still used sometimes as a glazing agent, coating certain hard candies like jelly beans on medical pills, and sometimes as a preservative coating on citrus fruits. On the cuter end of the animal spectrum, humans have been living with sheep for thousands of years. Behind dogs, they're the oldest domesticated animals. We use them for meat and milk and wool, and for lanolin. Also called wool wax and wool grease, lanolin is a yellowish, waxy substance secreted through the sebaceous glands of wool-bearing mammals. It protects the animal's skin from the elements by waterproofing its wool, and as much as 25% of a sheep's wool weight could be from lanolin. When a sheep is sheared, this greasy wax is separated from the wool with heat rollers and a centrifuge. The lanolin itself is an excellent moisturizer for human skin and is used in all sorts of lip balms and lotions. It's also used in various industrial lubricants and leather conditioners. So clearly, animals ooze out all sorts of useful things, and over the millennia, we've managed to find ways to extract and exploit them. But there's also a growing field of research dedicated to creating synthetic alternatives to substances and structures found in nature, biomimicry. And here, researchers are studying another strange animal secretion that they hope will help build a better sunscreen. Hippo sweat. Ever wonder why those bald, beefy hippos don't get totally roasted in the hot African sun all day? They don't burn because it turns out their sweat is an amazing natural sunscreen. Researchers found that the reddish-orange tinted UV-absorbing glandular glaze that they secrete contains microscopic structures that scatter sunlight. In fact, hippo sweat may be more effective than any man-made sunscreen, which reflects UVB rays but are less successful reflecting harmful UVA rays. It even has distinct antiseptic qualities. Take that, Coppertone! And while no one is suggesting slathering on hippo sweat, researchers hope to replicate its effectiveness without turning anyone orange. And now you know. The next time you're making yourself smell good for a hot date, or enjoying a handful of jelly beans, or varnishing your violin, you'll probably have to thank one of our animal colleagues who who sweat, spit, or pooped its mightiest to make that possible. Thank you for watching this episode of SciShow. If you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, you can find us on Facebook, Twitter, or in the comments below. And if you want to keep getting smarter with us here at SciShow, you can go to youtube.com/SciShow and subscribe.